We've all been there. It's race day, the gun goes, you get carried away running way too hard too early, and then you crash later. But the good news is that pacing is actually a learned skill, just like anything else. Now, Vlad's still recovering from his miler, so today we're down at the track and he's going to coach me through a short set of 400-meter reps. He'll give me some elite guidance on pacing these reps properly and evenly, plus a few technique cues that can hopefully help us all feel smoother, relaxed, and more controlled when running at pace. Plus, along the way, I'll dive into some of the science behind pacing, why it matters, and the evidence that this kind of repeatable workout can actually help you get better at it no matter what distance you're running. All right, mate, obviously, you and I are both kind of distance-oriented runners, so why are we down here at the track today doing 400s?
We're going to be practicing a few things that are really going to help us as runners, and pacing discipline is one of them. But then after that, we're going to be trying to develop the ability to run fast, relaxed, work on leg turnover, and then all of those things are going to help develop better running economy.
I mean, pacing discipline can apply, across all distances, right? Not just 400s, but 5K all the way to marathons.
All the way, you're right, but it's like anything, practice makes perfect, and pacing discipline is something that you just need to go and do. Being able to practice it on short reps is definitely beneficial and easier to do.
Mate, it's a scorcher today. Oh,
Degrees Celsius coming up.
Oh, I'll put the conversions for all you Americans on there.
Let's go.
All right, I'll just cut in here to share some of the science that supports incorporating this kind of focused pacing practice into your training. Now, on race day, it might not seem like a big deal to go out a little too hard at the start, but the science is really clear. Getting your pacing wrong can cost you a lot, especially if you're an amateur. For example, this 2025 review on marathon pacing shows that starting too fast leads to much faster glycogen depletion, earlier lactate buildup, worse thermoregulation, and much earlier heart rate drift. All of that combines to break down your running form sooner, massively increasing how hard the effort feels later in the race. But there's good news. As Vlad said, practice does make perfect, especially with pacing. And there's science to back that up too. Specifically, this systematic review that looked at 27 years of pacing research found that pacing is actually a learned behavior that improves with repetition, feedback, and structured practice, which is exactly why doing repeatable intervals like these 400s that we're doing here today is such a good way to work on it. And as you progress, you can then combine that with other longer pacing practice that suits the distance and terrain of your goals. After watching me do that rep, what do you got for me?
You probably went out just a bit too quick. In this next rep, we're definitely going to try and focus on getting a more even repetition in. So I'm going to run behind you, broken the track up into 4 sections, so I've got markers out at every 100 meters. And I'm going to give you time checks at each of those gates so that hopefully we can be a lot more consistent as we head around the track. Let's go. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, perfect. 62.
All right, well, what about that rep?
That was good. Yeah, it was actually very even. Finished off really well. And overall the time was a fair bit quicker. But you definitely started out a lot more controlled. Now we're heading into the next rep. What we can incorporate this time is a bit more even arm swing. So start using your arms to give you some assistance as you go through the rep. As distance runners, we generally have our arms nice and relaxed and we don't actually use them that much, but when you're on the track, you need to use your arms for a bit of power. 3, 2. Twenty, 21, 22. 60. Yeah, I think actually you do need that arm drive today in the back straight because of the wind.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Onto that back straight with the wind.
It's good anytime, but, more so today it needs to be a bit more pronounced.
It's fitting that today's video is all about pacing because our sponsor for this one is Pace Athletic, who hooked me and Vlad up with these carbon racers that we're using for today's session and that we're using for some fun content coming up. Pace is Australia's biggest running shoe store, and they do heaps for the local running community with plenty of group runs and events. If you want more info or just need some new shoes, check them out in the link below. All right, mate, well that one did feel and was a fair bit faster. What else can I do to try and bring these into just a bit more consistent pacing and get a bit quicker?
What I'm wanting you to do now is to be a bit more relaxed in the upper body. And a really good tip for doing that is to have your hands nice and relaxed, as if you're holding something really fragile in them that you don't want to break. Okay, so instantly having relaxed hands is going to relax your shoulders. Okay, I just think you're a bit too tense in the upper body at the moment, and then just use the flow.
Yeah, I think this kind of idea of relaxing is it's so foreign to me as someone who's never done track training or anything like that. I think when I've tried to do hard efforts, it's only natural to sort of almost force yourself into a bit of a sprint mechanic. Actually, what you're saying is let's relax into the effort and see how it goes.
Yeah, let's take the tension away from the upper body. Just let the legs do their running, and you just use our arms for a bit of power. Just focus on your form. Like, I'm not even going to say anything about time this time. Rolling. That's it, nice and relaxed hands. Good job. He's running away from me.
All right, mate, I think the wind and the heat are definitely taking a bit of a toll here, but...
Well, you're getting better, because I can't keep up anymore.
All right,
but in fairness, I'm recovering.
Yeah, I know, mate. No one's expecting you to hold these paces of elite like me. Cut. What can I do to try and ink out a little bit more pace on this last one?
I think a really good tip for everyone is breathing. Okay, sounds, natural, but a lot of people just forget about it, and they kind of start breathing maybe 20 to 30 to even 50 meters into the rep. You need to have that oxygen straight away, and you see really skilled professionals before they race, you can see them consciously taking big deep breaths.
And that's such an interesting call out, because I know, even just thinking back to my fastest 5k and parkrun efforts and stuff, because you do your warm up and then you have a while to sit around and wait for the start. So you're very relaxed when the start gun goes. And I think that, often it will probably get to 500 meters into the race before I start getting into my hard effort breathing rhythm. What you're saying is, basically from the very start, try and force the breathing that you're intentionally trying to hit when you're running hard.
Rolling.
Oh no, well, it's good to be out of the sun, but I think we made some pretty decent progress today.
Yeah, I think we did. It's really good to see how we were able to get your reps faster as the session progressed. And we put that down to the fact that you were running a really even 400.
If you're doing, say, something like 5k or even a parkrun or something, it might feel really great to go out fast with everyone. But that, even just if it's for 500 meters or so, it's going to cost you, and you're going to crash so much harder. So your overall time is going to be slower than if you were to start more relaxed, more controlled, and have a more even pacing throughout the race.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And we see it all the time, but some of the things that we specifically worked on today to help you were to be calling out the times at different parts on the track, to focus on having a nice relaxed stride, to make sure that your upper body was relaxed, didn't have too much tension there, and then we were breathing before we even started the rep as well. And then, obviously, it's not just about 400s. You can practice this type of session or pacing, consistent pacing, across different types of runs. And some of the favourites that I do quite often myself are like a progressive tempo, where I've got blocks of speed that change, and then I actually monitor and look at how I'm going. So I might be, for example, starting at long run pace, and then the next 10-minute block might be long run pace minus 10 seconds per K, and then it gets faster. Other shorter examples of that would be like 3 by 9 minute builds, where I'm going 3 minutes at long run pace, 3 minutes at tempo, and then 3 minutes of VO2 max. So I'm always working on my pacing myself, and just making sure I'm really in tune with my body.
And then I guess, as you progress, you probably want to, take this kind of pace work to, I guess, the terrain that you're training for. So if you're a trail runner, you want to kind of do it and make sure that you're hitting a consistent effort across different kinds of terrain.
Yeah, exactly right. Once you hit the trails, like it's really hard to specify like a pace that you should be running at when you're training. So then we need to move more into effort.
Awesome, mate. Well, that's all we have time for today. Really appreciate your advice as always. And thanks so much for everyone's support. As always, leave a comment below if you've got any questions. But other than that, enjoy your running.
Thanks guys, see you later.